September is finally here, which means it is now spring in New Zealand and the rest of the Southern Hemisphere, which means that it is time for shorts. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm not. Everything I said is true. It is September. It is now spring. We're going into summer. We're getting warmer weather. I will be wearing shorts, so get used to this. But that's not why I'm here. Why I'm here today is because while the rest of the world in the Northern Hemisphere are all going to be going into your colder, darker months and struggling with the depression that comes with, I wanted to bring a little bit of positivity into this crazy world of ours. So I thought with it now being September, I'm going to spring into a top 4 best things about New Zealand. Why only 4, you ask? Well, because I'm lazy, efficient, and I've been cooped up inside for the past 4 or 5 months, so this fresh air is really shocking my system. So let's get on with it with number 4. So quite a few things were fighting out for this bottom spot. A lot of these things I can bring up in another video if this one gets a lot of attention. It's another reason I went for 4, because if I found 20 things and did a top 5, that would only be 4 videos. Well, if I do a top 4, it's 5 videos. Math. But the number 4 thing I find for New Zealand is its work-life balance. Now, there are some negative things about work in New Zealand, but I'll cover that in some other video. For now, I just want to cover the positives. New Zealand was recently declared number 1 in the world for work-life balance. And there's got to be quite a few reasons for this, so I looked into it, and it's a combination of, we get 13 public holidays per year. That's paid time off. And on top of that, we get 4 weeks paid vacation per year. I also find that a lot of places are quite relaxed. I've worked in a lot of different industries, from healthcare to factory work, and I've never had a manager breathing down my neck or micromanaging. Not to say that everyone's good, but I haven't had a lot of negative experiences. On top of that, I think for a lot of the world, COVID really forced a lot of companies to get innovative. And yeah, this is an over the world thing, so we still are hanging on to our work from home schedules if we can. So that's another positive. And on top of that, recently, the amount of sick days we had per year got raised to 10. And yeah, in some countries you have unlimited sick days, but it's a combination of things put together that give New Zealand that work-life balance. Now, say those 10 sick days, because it brings me up to my next point at number 3. Our healthcare system. And yeah, I know there's going to be a few people out there who want to say a lot of negative things about what is happening at the moment, but we'll talk about that another time, I promise. Right now I want to talk about what the system is meant to do. It's pretty much meant to be split into 2 parts. You've got the private healthcare, which you as an individual have to spend a lot of money on, but for it you will get your own private room, you'll get better food, better accommodation, and probably most importantly, your medical procedures and tests will be done a bit faster. But if you're, don't have a lot of income coming in, you can go public. And that's fine, it's free, and you're not going to be losing out that much. You'll have to share a ward with 5 to 7 other people. The food is a lot worse, and unfortunately your medical procedures and tests will be a bit delayed, but it is free. So, that balances out pretty nicely. I like that. I like that balance. Unfortunately, any dental procedures or physiotherapy, that is going to cost you no matter what. We do have something in place to kind of cover that. We have an organization called ACC, the Accident Compensation Corporation. Now, its goal is mainly to help keep people who have been injured from going down into poverty. You'll get subsidized for any physiotherapy you need, and they cut a lot of the costs down. On top of that, they will pay your about 80% of your wages, right? So that you're not going to just fall flat and have to rely on any savings you have. If you have savings, it will give you just a bit of help. And finally, they want you to get back to work, so they don't have to keep paying you. So they will help you get back to work. They will talk to your employer to get you onto some part-time work or some lighter hours or some lighter duties until you can get back on your feet. It's a really good safety net, and it works especially well with the number 2. My number two is that New Zealand is a safe country to live in. This is mainly on 3 fronts. Now that I think about it, the last one, number 3, had 2 fronts. This one, number 2, has 3 fronts. I wonder if I should have switched them around. No, this is more important. Firstly, it is way too far from anywhere for anyone to want to come to war and invade us. We don't have that many amazing natural resources to steal, except for number 1. Number 1 is very important. People might come to war for our number 1. But it's so far away, the amount of resources other people would have to spend to attack us wouldn't be worth it. So that's always, that's quite reassuring. Reason number 2 is we are considered to be the 4th safest country in the world out of about 160. Unfortunately, last year we were number 2, so we've gotten a little bit worse. Get it together. But still, top 4 is pretty good, I guess. A lot of great things are in the top 4. Like this video, it's got a lot of top 4. Top 4. What comes after bronze? Oh, we don't even get the bronze anymore. So yeah, crime rate is going up a little bit, but that's still pretty good. 4 out of 160. Can't beat that, except for the 3 that did beat that. Yeah, that sucks. How about Ireland to beat us, honestly? And the third front is our wildlife is chill. I do not have to worry about some poisonous insect biting me and me dying in excruciating agony in the next hour. It has happened, but that was well over 100 years ago. Yeah, and you compare that to other countries like Australia. I have 2 hilarious stories. Well, they're not even hilarious, they're just stories. I once had a friend come over here from Australia, and he fell in a bush and had a minor panic attack as he scrambled out of the bush, and then laughed as he realized that there was nothing in that bush that could kill him. But he had been raised in Australia, so in every bush there is something that can kill you, especially those deadly drop bears. The other one is I was with a mate in Darwin, and we went on a helicopter ride to an island, and we landed and we're having a drink, and I was looking at the beach and it was just golden, crisp sand. It just sparkled in the sunshine. The water was almost seamless. It was beautiful. It was calm. And I just said, oh, I just want to run in there and jump in that water. And our pilot said, without missing a beat, you'll die. Because there are just tons of crocodiles in the water. That's why no one was there. That's why it looks so good, because no one goes there. There are crocodiles everywhere, especially in Darwin. It's just crocodiles everywhere. You don't get that here. It's safe and it feels good. But hey, that leaves me with just one thing left. So, the number one best thing in New Zealand, and I'm pretty sure you can guess it. Yep, it was pretty obvious where this was going to end up. The number one spot of best things in New Zealand was always going to be our scenic views. Whether you're into coastlines and beaches, because no matter where you are in New Zealand, you're 130 kilometers away from a coastline. We have a very narrow island. In fact, it's narrow enough that we have an annual race called the Coast to Coast, where people will race from the west coast to the east coast, or it's vice versa, I can't remember anymore, using only running, biking and kayaking. It is a 2-day event, but there are people who can do that in 10 hours. So yeah, coastlines everywhere. If that's not what you're into, we have at least 775 lakes in New Zealand. Lakes are also gorgeous. That's of course because of the very mountainous terrains we have. Like I'm on the hilly mountainside now, and I can see the Cook Mountains behind you. I'll turn the camera around in a minute. It's gorgeous too. You know, because of this, you know, you get the rain pour in and you get lakes everywhere. It's fine. And we have a weird ecosystem. If you go really far down south, you can get rainforests and glaciers really close to each other, and up north you get a lot of geothermic areas with a lot of beautiful lakes. It is a weird country. We're also busy enough to have, you know, major cities with everything you need, but once you're outside of them, half an hour to hour tops driving, you will find a really beautiful scenic spot. I drove 35 minutes from Christchurch to get here. To get to a parking spot just down there, I can see it, walked for a bit, and yeah, here we are, 530 meters above sea level. It's beautiful. And that's it. This is my top 4 favorite things about New Zealand. There are definitely other great things, and obviously people might prioritize some over the others, but really I think the views is the number one spot. You can't sort of beat that. Yeah, and I'm gonna eventually have to make a video about the negative things to balance everything out, and we'll see how we go from there. Until then, enjoy and bye. This is a Cooper's knob. This is why I need help. I'm an adult. This is Cooper's knob. Why? Why? I pay taxes. This is Cooper's knob.